Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vrindavan. No rainbows though. Just sunshine. Canto 10, Chapter 15, Text 24. Listen to this. The demon Danak had eaten men alive. Did you know that? Danak ate people alive. And therefore all people and animals are terrified of going to the Tala forest. Oh, killer of the enemy, even the birds are afraid to fly there. Whew. Purport. The cowherd boy friends of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram encouraged the two brothers to go at once to the Tal forest and kill the ass demon. Indeed, here they addressed the brothers as Amitra Han, killer of the enemy. The cowherd boys were engaged in ecstatic meditation upon the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and reasoned thus. Krishna has already killed terrible demons like Baka and Agha, so what is so special about this obnoxious jackass named Dhanuka, who has become public enemy number one in Vrindavan? The cowherd boys wanted Krishna and Balaram to kill the demons so that all the pious inhabitants of Vrindavan could enjoy the fruits of the Tal forest. Thus, they requested the special favor that the ass demon be killed. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, by describing the strength of the demon, they incite the fighting spirit in Krishna and Balaram. But, quote, but in front of you too, the bravery of the demon and his cohorts will become like flowers in the sky. So let us go and relieve the residents of their fear and shower your blessings upon those who want to enjoy the tal fruit. Unquote. This is the intention of this verse. Jiva Goswami writes, the boys describe his wickedness. The second line is often included, but does not connect with the first line grammatically. Sanatan Goswami. The boys describe his wickedness. He has eaten men. Quote, then why are you most affectionate boys encouraging me to do this? They say, oh, killer of the demons, you destroyed very easily many demons like Baka and Agha. So what will become of this donkey? Your fame will increase by killing this evil demon. Unquote, even though it is not proper for affectionate friends to urge Krishna in this way. When Sita speaks to Hanuman, who wants to bring her to Ram, she says that Ram's fame will increase by his killing Ravana. Thinking of Krishna's courage, the boys speak in this way to increase his fame. Text 25. In the Tal forest are sweet smelling fruits no one has ever tasted. Indeed, even now we can smell the fragrance of the Tal fruits spreading all about. BBT purport. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, the sweet fragrance of the Tal fruits was carried by an easterly wind, which is conducive to rain in the Vrindavan area. This easterly wind generally blows in the month of Bhadra, and thus indicates the excellent ripeness of the fruits, while the fact that the boys could smell them indicates the nearness of the tall forest. So it also gives us a picture of what the season is. So it's the fall season. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, in which direction is this forest? This verse answers, the fragrance from the forest is carried by the easterly winds. In the Bhadra month, the forest is east from here. So we heard last time we discussed this, the tall forest is halfway between Mathura and Govardhan. So they're coming from the Govardhan direction towards the forest. Jiva Goswami. The word cha indicates that the fruits are sweet, though the fruit have never been eaten. Just by smelling the fragrance of their sweetness, by smelling the fragrance, their sweetness can be known. The word vai indicates certainly. The sweet fragrance is experienced everywhere, for generally in that area, the east wind, favorable for rain, blows in the Bhadra month. The fragrance indicates the excellence and nearness of the fruits. Thinking that Krishna and Balaram did not know, they informed them. When the two boys questioned the others about the demon, they show ignorance of Dhenuka as a joke. Sanatana Goswami, same. Yeah, same. Jiva Goswami just follows Sanatana Goswami. Text 26. O Krishna, please get those fruits for us. Our minds are so attracted by their aroma. Dear Balaram, our desire to have those fruits is very great. If you think it's a good idea, let's go to the tall forest. BBT purport. Although neither man nor bird nor beast could even approach the tall forest, the cowherd boys had so much faith in Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram that they took it for granted. The two lords could easily, effortlessly kill the sinful ass demons and acquire the delicious tall fruits. Lord Krishna's cowherd boyfriends are exalted, self-realized souls who would not ordinarily become greedy for sweet fruits. In fact, they are simply joking with the Lord and enthusing his pastimes, urging him to perform unprecedented heroic feats in the tall forest. Innumerable demons disturbed the sublime atmosphere of Vrindavan during Lord Krishna's presence there, and the Lord would kill such demons as a popular daily event. Paragraph. Since Lord Krishna had already killed many demons, on this particular day he decided to give first honors to Lord Balaram, who would demolish the first demon, Dhenuka, by the words Yadi Rochate. The cowherd boys indicated that Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram need not kill the demon simply to satisfy them. Rather, they should do so only if the lords themselves found the concept appealing. Jiva Goswami. Please give the fruit to us, greedy because of the scent. Calling both boys indicates their great eagerness for the fruit. Oh, Krishna, we have become greedy. We have never become greedy, but by association with the butter thief, now we have become greedy too. "O Balaram." By the previous joking, they hope their fault of making a difficult request is destroyed. Seeing no response, even after many requests, they then speak with affection and anger to him. "We have great desire for the fruit. Go, if it pleases you." Sanatana Goswami. They call out to Krishna because it is suitable to ask the dearest person. Or, "O Balaram, our minds are greedy just by a trace of Krishna. Though they are rare fruits, by the power of his association, they become easy to obtain." They joke. Quote, "By association with the butter thief, now we have become greedy too. Lobhita chetasam." This prevents the fault in asking for something rare. "We have for a long time desired these fruits." The deep meaning is this, quote, "I have directly killed many demons like Vatsasura, but Balaram has killed none. Thus he should kill Dhenuka. Because he is a weak donkey, there is no worry about this. It should be understood that Krishna has had this desire for a long time. Thus Balaram should not go by our insistence, but by his own desire. Thus they say, if you are pleased, then go, with the thought that it would be pleasing to his younger brother for Balaram to go there. And text 27. Hearing the words of their dear companions, Krishna and Balaram laughed, and, desiring to please them, set off for the Taliban, surrounded by their cowherd boyfriends. BBT, purport. Lord Krishna was thinking, how can a mere ass be so formidable? And thus he smiled at the petition of his boyfriends. As stated by Lord Kapila in the Bhagavatam 3:28-32, Ha sam harer avinatakila lokativra shokashru sagara vishokshanam atyutaram, which means, the smile and laughter of the Supreme Lord Hari is most magnanimous. Indeed, for those who bow down to the Lord, his smile and laughter dry up the ocean of tears caused by the intense suffering of this world. Unquote. Thus, to encourage their boyfriends, Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram smiled, laughed, and immediately set out with them for the Tal forest. Nice. Vishwanath. Krishna and Balaram laughed. How can a donkey be so strong? That is impossible. Therefore they laughed loudly. Their friends must be telling a lie. Jiva Goswami writes, surrounded by their friends, the two went to the forest. They showed their abilities, Prabhu, to give joy to their friends. And Sanatana Goswami. The two boys heard the words of Sridham and others and desired to please their friends by broadcasting their glories. They laughed loudly because they had heard the fearful descriptions of the boys. Or they laughed to remove the worry of the boys. Kapila says, quotes the same verse, one should meditate on the generous smile of the Lord, which completely dries up the ocean of tears of intense grief in his devotees caused by separation. One should meditate on the Lord's brow, manufactured by his own energy to bewilder Cupid for the benefit of the sages. The two brothers were surrounded by the affectionate boys, since the boys feared the demon would harm the boys. They showed their abilities, Prabhu, in order to give the boys joy. Or, as the Lord of the boys, Prabhu, they were suitable to please them. Text 28. Lord Balaram entered the tall forest first. Then, with his 2 arms, he began forcefully shaking the trees with the power of a maddened elephant, causing the tall fruits to fall to the ground. No BBT purport. Jiva Goswami writes, Balaram entered the forest first, since he was requested first. Krishna took a secondary role in order to glorify Balaram. Because the trees were clustered together, by shaking one, they all shook. By his will, he made the fruits fall at a distance, not on his head. Or his 2 arms became many and simultaneously shook all the trees everywhere. Sampari kam payan. Sanatan Goswami. Balaram went first because he was the elder, or out of affection for his younger brother. Or Krishna took a secondary role in order to glorify Balaram. By shaking one tree, all the trees shook since they were close together. Or with his 2 arms, he was able to grab many trees at once. He shook them completely, some, and everywhere, putty, because he had great power. Or he shook in this way in order to make the fruits everywhere fall all over quickly with strength. Au jasa. He did this like a mad elephant. This indicates that he made them fall easily. And our last verse for this evening, text 29. Hearing the sound of the falling fruits, the ass demon Denuka ran forward to attack, making the earth and trees tremble. Vishwanath writes, Dhenukasura came running at Balaram, shaking the earth along with all the mountains. Sa Nagam. Jiva Goswami writes, the demon caused shaking everywhere. Parikampayan. The whole earth shook along with the mountains. This shows the demon's strength, which was mentioned earlier. Now, as I'm reading this, I was thinking it must be a very beautiful description of the same in Gopal Champu. Gopal Champu is the text by Jiva Goswami that describes Krishna's pastimes being narrated by 2 disciples of Narada Muni, young men, Madhukanta and Snigdhakanta. And everybody's there in Vrindavan. It's the chronology is when Krishna, after killing Dhenukasura, entered Vrindavan and stayed for 2 months. One of the things that happened while he stayed for 2 months, something quite similar to Lavan Kush narrating Ramayana in Ayodhya in the presence of Ram. So similarly, these 2 brothers were narrating Krishna's pastimes in Krishna's presence, and Nanda Maharaj and everybody else. They gathered together in the morning and they narrated until the evening, and then everybody dispersed and went to their homes. And it's just a narration of Krishna's Brajalila. They experienced it directly, but these 2, because they're disciples of Narada, they've understood and realized everything about the pastimes, and so they're asked questions from time to time by different persons, and they encourage each other. Oh, really? What happened next? What happened next? It's a style of writing that's meant to be sung. In fact, there are sections where it's literally in verse. Most of it is prose, but from time to time interspersed, there's verses that have a meter, and it goes for some time. They repeat and they sing, and they repeat and they sing, and then it goes back to narration. So it's a certain style, a Champu style. And it's very interesting. There's some details in Gopal Champu that differ from the Bhagavatam, but that's quite okay. Most likely, I don't know for a fact, but most likely other Puranas also describe this pastime because it seems to be a celebrated pastime. One of the reasons it's celebrated is because Balaram is the one who kills Dhenuka, because the other ones, they were killed by Krishna. And there's, again, in the other Puranas, there are at least, slightly variant details. So maybe in the course of reading this section, we'll cover that. Just read from Gopal Champu, because it doesn't. In that case, there isn't commentary. It's just Madhukanta and Snigdhakanta narrating. Specifically with Dhenuka, he's envious. When Prabhupada narrates this pastime, if I can't enjoy the fruits, then no one should enjoy the fruits. Because he's a donkey, and if the fruits are really high, or sometimes the fruits just when they're ripe they fall, but because he can't eat, so others shouldn't eat. He's very, very territorial. And as we heard, the very first verse, he ate. Brijvasis would come, some would come, because it's not so far. They would go, and he would eat them. So he was a terrorist. And the boys are not at all intimidated. There are some examples when they see Aghasura, for example, they feel a little fearful. Some feel a little fearful. And others are, we read this the other day, thinking, even if he wants to kill us, Krishna and Balaram will take care of things. Let's go. In other cases, they were just, Bakasura was similarly very huge, looked like, the description is, looked like a mountain peak that had been knocked off with a thunderbolt and had fallen just in the middle of the field, but shaped like a duck. So a mountain peak shaped like a duck. And as they got closer, hey, it looks like a duck. Hey, maybe he's wants to harm us. Some started running. Other boys said, no. Even if he wants to harm us, he can't do anything. And Krishna immediately went straight to Bakasura. So, we're accustomed in ISKCON to use and hear the word Krishna's Leela. And the meaning, just because there's not a lot of substantive purport here, the meaning of Leela is his internal potencies are acting for his pleasure and to stimulate the pleasure of his devotees. Now, it's not too many times where we hear the specific request of the boys for something. But when Krishna understands his devotees want something, he considers how to fulfill that. A nice example of that is the elders wanting to see the spiritual world. If he is Narayan, then maybe he'll be kind and show us the spiritual world. He's eternally woed. So they didn't ask it, they were just thinking it, but Krishna arranged the arrangement for them to see. So there's an intimate relationship of the desire of the residents, the Rajbasis, certainly any of them, but the cowherd boys, because he was with them all day. There's this little description of, some of you know the story of Shyamananda, and before he was Shyamananda, he was Dukhi Krishna, and his spiritual master's name was Hriday Chaitanya. And Hriday Chaitanya had the mood of a cowherd boy. So he was appreciating how fortunate the boys are. He was cultivating that mood of a cowherd boy with Krishna all day long. And the intimacy of love between the cowherd boys and Krishna and the cowherd boys. No one else is with Krishna all day long. The gopis are feeling pain and separation from Krishna. The cowherd boys are with them all day long. And the parents, of course, it was nice when Krishna was little, because he was with them constantly. But now he's hardly with them. He's either with the gopas or the gopis, and he's hardly with the parents. So he had a liking for the cowherd boy. I mean, that's not the only calculating reason, but that was his mood. And those that have a mood of love like that, they're perfectly content. It's their natural position. And so they're naturally perfectly content. And Krishna knows how to reciprocate the love of everyone. Or if he does with living entities that want, so-called happiness in the material world, and here's a whole bunch of so-called happiness in the material world, what to speak of those that have a desire to be with him and to serve him. So the desire requires refinement or strengthening, and part of like what we're hearing in the morning session, the Uddhava Gita, just hearing about Krishna's form, Krishna's activities, Krishna's loving exchanges. There's immense power and potency in those sound vibrations, sufficient to cleanse away all coverings of material existence. And we're a little thick because we have to do a lot of hearing, but the potency is there nonetheless. So I've been covering since this, I don't know how many months now, 4 months, 5 months, mostly in the evenings. There's been interrupted with other things, reading from Ramayana and so forth, but every evening for a good stretch of time, just hearing Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And it has an effect, for sure, a transcendental effect. Maybe in the morning when you wake up, you'll be thinking about Krishna and Vrindavan with the cowherd boys, enjoying pastimes together, whether it's the playing or in this particular section, Balaram courageously, boldly going into the tall forest. And tomorrow is the combat between Harivangsha has even a nicer, now that I recall, Harivangsha has a really far out description. Maybe I'll read that tomorrow or the day after we read the Bhagavatam description. Harivangsha description is really far out. Okay, so let's see if there's some discussion. Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. So, while hearing these descriptions of these pastimes coming in Canto 10, I was appreciating like three qualities of Krishna. One is he is very accessible, not only to the pure devotees, but to all the living entities. He makes himself easily accessible. And then especially to the pure devotees, he extends himself and wants to fulfill their desires. And the third quality was, even when he is encountering and interacting with these demons who are envious by nature, and he wants to protect his friends or devotees, I do not see the anger or any such quality being manifest in Krishna even during those pastimes. He takes care of either killing the demons or something like that, but still I was appreciating that fact, like that he was not like disturbed by that negativity of those demons.
Outside of Vrindavan, he has chivalrous talk with demons. And he does so, with a smile and laughingly, but it's chivalrous talk. My sense is there's a variety. It's reciprocating with their desire, because when he speaks chivalrous talk to a demon, they become more, combative. It's part of combat is the language that's used these days is trash talking. And it just says things that inspire the other person's anger or challenges them. Don't talk so much. Let's see how you can fight. That's there in Ramayana a lot too. You had something.
When Krishna's friends were asking for tal fruits, it seemed like they have the desire, but the other day
yes.
You mentioned that actually they know Krishna's desire, that's why they were asking. So
yes.
How do it externally it seems like they have the desire to eat the fruits, but how do they know that it's Krishna's desire or Balram's desire?
Oh, it's just natural that it's very sweet smelling and therefore very sweet tasting, and they know that Krishna enjoys different things. They have a relationship with him, so they know. Now the language, I was thinking this when we were reading it, while they're speaking we, it's not just, the little boys, it's Krishna, and it's also the residents of Vrindavan, the elders. They're thinking about, the residents. It's natural that in forest life, when something grows in the forest, it's very nice. People want to be able to partake of that. It's the reciprocation from Mother Nature for their necessities or for their enjoyments. So they don't like that this demon is obstructing. But it's not selfishness. That's for sure. That's for sure. So your question is, how do they know? Because they know. Because they're with him all the time. They know what he eats and they know what he likes. They're sitting and having lunch, and Mother just sort of prepares for Krishna, and Rohini prepares for Balaram, and they share with one another. Let's see what you have. They're not, this is mine. Not like that. they're very affectionate with one another. Those when you're affectionate with someone, you know what they like. That's how they know.
One more question.
Yeah.
So, I heard, I may have remembered it right or wrong. These Dhenukasura represents the false ego. Is that right? False ego.
Well, it says different things, but corrupted intelligence, bad intelligence, and envy. So.
And then why Balram actually kills that, not Krishna?
There's several reasons. You're asking another question now. Okay, several reasons. A remote reason we mentioned the other day. Krishna, in the form of Lord Nrsingadev, Krishna made a promise to Prahlad, I will not kill any of your descendants. Remember that? So Prahlad's son was Virochan, and Virochan had a son who in his next life became Dhenuka. So Krishna wouldn't kill him, to keep his word. So Balaram can kill him. That was one reason. Another we just read. I get all the action, let Balaram get some of the glory. In that it's shifting of the mood from the younger brother to the older brother, marked by let my older brother do. And in some of the narrations, I think it's in Harivamsa, Krishna was acting as if he was a little afraid. Not afraid, but he was so that Balaram could go forward. And he was enjoying that feeling. In other words, within rasa, it's 360. It's not just this side and not that side. So, for purpose of enjoying, he was feeling that feeling. And then another, this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur explaining that the two demons that Krishna kills indicates something that we as devotees or sadhakas must particularly do. Balaram will help us, but we as sadhakas must give significant attention to. That is to say, Krishna will remove other obstacles. These two demons represent obstacles that we must pay special attention to in our practice of sadhana bhakti. Then comes, it's specific to the description of his bad intelligence. It's bad intelligence when we can't fix our mind because the heart or the soul is not sufficiently wanting the relationship with Krishna, and so we get the other kind of intelligence. We get a mind that doesn't get controlled by good intelligence. So there's these nice fruits, but the bad intelligence is keeping others from getting it. From using a natural facility given by nature, which means given by Krishna, to be offered to Krishna. So that's another explanation. We need spiritual strength. This was discussed in the Festival of the Holy Name. Did you hear those recordings? So this particular point I'm making was discussed. And you can hear the recordings again to get it again. Over on this side, anything? Give to the ladies. Just pass the microphone.
Okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maybe my question goes a little off topic. So starting with the topic only.
Fine.
So whenever we discuss on the pastimes, I don't feel like having any taste. Means I don't feel like, means I hear more.
You don't feel what?
the taste of
A taste.
Yes.
You don't feel a taste.
Yeah. So I little bit like I hear, then I just go out of the track, and I don't feel things. What could be the reason for that?
Do you feel that the charmingness?
Yeah, I don't feel it.
You don't feel the charmingness
Yes.
of the pastimes.
Pastimes, yes.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. So the
You want to know why, but I'm still digesting that you don't feel this charmingness.
yeah. So the connecting question is like. So yesterday we were talking about like hearing.
Yes, we were.
So in Bhagavad Gita, I think chapter number 10, where Prabhupada writes, so hearing in by being situated self in a right position.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to connect like means all these three things, like why I'm not feeling that charm when I'm trying to hear pastimes. So what is my position, like where I'm not situated, so that I'm not feeling it?
Well, the goal is not exactly to feel something, you know, in a higher sense. It's you feel in the higher sense. It's love, and that's certainly a feeling. But it's more than a feeling. It's when there is love, you do something. It's motivational, not just affective. So if there isn't the feeling, don't worry about it. I would say, in principle, don't worry about it, because if faith is there, that doing this will be purifying. I mean, again, just like, because it was just this morning, Krishna was saying to Krishna was saying to Uddhava, I perform my pastimes to give subject matter for my devotees to hear, chant, and remember. And those potencies, when they hear, chant, and remember, are filled with transcendental potency. So at least as much for you. I'm not feeling anything, but I know that it's cleansing, purifying. Specifically, Krishna was saying to Uddhava, the mind becomes cleansed. So what's in the mind that needs to be cleansed? Well, it's the mind that needs to be cleansed is specifically passion. That, a fruitive tendency, trying to be the enjoyer of things. So regularly hearing Krishna's pastimes and his teachings, his words, is pure. It cleanses the mind of the tendency, the passion tendency to try to be the enjoyer. So if that passion tendency becomes cleansed, because you have faith, you continue hearing, what is going to happen, in due course of time at least, is the passion tendency, or I'm the enjoyer tendency, or as, like this other suggestion, false ego tendency, it's different ways of saying the same thing, will subside. And when that covering subsides, then some feelings will come. But, until then, it's these two things: dedication of the fruits of your work to Krishna. That's what we're hearing in this morning's class. Krishna saying to Uddhava, if you're not at that stage where the mind is pure, then do this. What's that? Two things. Dedicate the results of your activities, the fruits of your activities, to Krishna, to me. And go on hearing. The hearing is to cleanse the mind, so that the mind will then, in a cleansed condition, feel something, and the heart will feel something, because the cleansing is you're restoring a relationship. you understand, I appreciate this idea of gradual cleansing from what I know about Ayurveda. I mean, it's easy to explain bhakti in terms of something that's a little more concrete than abstract. So in Ayurveda, after doing the diagnosis part, the Ayurvedic doctor doing his ABC things, he can understand what's the imbalance here. And the imbalance is producing certain symptoms. So then the Ayurvedic doctor, qualified doctor, knows which Ayurvedic herbs and which diet is good for this person, because it puts the doshas back in balance. And you don't feel something right away because it's natural, but you do it consistently over time, and you feel whatever it is. You know, the balance is being manifest by some malady over here is subsiding, and the sense of wellness is increasing. But it takes time. And you have to have a good physician, and you have to have good diagnosis, and has to have good medicine and proper diet. But you do all those things, and the doshas will become balanced again, and there's a sense of the malady diminishes and the wellness is increasing. Similarly, in hearing or reading Krishna's pastimes, there isn't that feeling within the mind or the heart. And that's the mind that's not able to stay with Krishna, stay fixed and absorbed in Krishna thought, because it's just not relishable yet. So you take the medicine and take the diet and follow the recommendations, knowing that the cleansing will take place. And when that cleansing takes place, the awakened state of consciousness is also reviving, and there will be a natural relish, and it'll be even specific. There's certain moods that Krishna exhibits that you particularly enjoy. Like I was making that mention of Hridaya Chaitanya, he had a mood of a cowherd boy, so he liked hearing about the cowherd boys. He liked the meditation. He was relishing on a spiritual platform. So we're not there yet. That's okay. You go to the physician, and the physician takes the pulse and says, this is what you should do. So don't have as a goal, you want to feel something. Have as a goal, I'd like my relationship, same as what Uddhava, I like what Uddhava says. I like my relationship with you to be unobstructed. And right now it's obstructed. Why is it obstructed? Because I have too much attachment for the temporary. And being the enjoyer of the temporary. Too much. No, he doesn't, but he's speaking like that, so that's our malady. The mode of passion is, I'm doing something because I want something. And the mode of goodness is, I don't do something because I want something. I do something because I know it's good for me. I know a little boy, he didn't like to brush his teeth. What are you going to do? He would sometimes and sometimes not brush his teeth. But when he understands, look, not just mom says so, you got to brush your teeth because mom says so, he would learn about oral hygiene. Now he brushes his teeth. Because that's mode of good. You do something because this is Kapila Dev's teaching in chapter 29 of Canto 3. Devotional service in ignorance, passion, goodness. And goodness is you do something because it's good for you. That's the way of life of a person in goodness. So cultivate goodness, and little less, what am I feeling? What's in it for me?
devotional service and goodness means it's not done because it is good for me. That is the right.
Well, there's different ways of saying the same thing, but it comes to the same thing. I'm doing this because it's to be done. I don't steal because you don't steal. I don't speak harshly because it's not nice. I speak, nicely because that's nice. That's the mode of goodness. And the mode of passion person doesn't care. And the mode of ignorance person can't discern anything anyways. But so mode of goodness person, the motivation is, the rule is, that the spirit that governs the mode of goodness person, it's good for me, or it's what is to be done. It's just right. I speak, you just hear. I only speak the truth because I only speak the truth. I don't tell lies. Not just because my mother told me don't tell lies. It's my nature. I don't tell lies. That's the mode of goodness. And though you're not in the mode of goodness, you don't think like that. Or cleanliness. Or, there's symptoms arising. So the mode of goodness has symptoms. So continue because it's purifying. It's good for me. I brush my teeth because, it's not because I like it. No, someone could brush their teeth because they know it's like yuck. What a goodness. And and then not only in terms of your hearing or your reading, but other areas of your lifestyle, your life's activities that are just ramp up the mode of goodness emphasis. And that which you're wanting, and Krishna will know that you're wanting, that that happiness will come. But there's a price, and that's the mode of, you go down the mode of goodness path a bit more. Okay, someone else in the back there.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. This is just an appreciation from the verse today you have read, the 27th verse, where it states
Can you turn the volume up? She's got a soft voice.
It says in the 27th verse, it says Krishna is so merciful, where when he smiles or laughs, it actually removes all the dries up the ocean.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah, the comparison and the wording is really that's very nice. I just wanted to appreciate that, and it clearly shows how merciful Krishna is. Just bowing down and surrendering in this material world to Krishna is dries up everything, and actually the real position we can reach to the Krishna. So I like that point.
For Krishna it comes natural. It's not like a calculated, I'll smile because. But it's a relationship. When you smile with someone that you have affection for, and they see that you're smiling, they feel something. And you know that they feel something, and that makes you smile more. It happens like that. I was with a family some while ago, and there's a little girl, 7 years old, and she, around me, she's real quiet. When I'm not around, she's as loud as can be, but when I'm there, she, I guess she's a little intimidated. I mean, just guessing, I didn't ask her. So just seeing her, because I know what's inside, just seeing her, I would smile. And then, in course of time, she'd start to smile back. Although she was intimidated, she'd start to smile back. And then it got to be just like a regular thing. We just see each other and smile. We didn't, no exchange, just smile. And then laugh. And So, when there's a relationship, like these cowherd boys, they have such a nice relationship. I shared something the other day. I'll share it again. It just fits this point you just brought up. When in chapter 12, this is chapter 15. In chapter 12, again, it's emphasis on the cowherd boys, and they're going out with the calves. This is before the stealing of the calves by Lord Brahma. That chapter is chapter 12. So what they do in this and that and the other. And it's not in the Bhagavatam, but it's in Krishna book, where Krishna, they're playing and playing and playing, and all of a sudden Krishna disappears. He goes somewhere into the forest. And the boys are completely attached to him. And they don't see him, and they're searching and searching and searching. And they're in anxiety. The mood changes from just having fun to they're in anxiety. And then they hear a voice. It's Krishna's voice. And Krishna says, whoever finds me first, I'll embrace them. So now they're enthused in a different way to find Krishna because they want Krishna's embrace. And one of the boys finds Krishna, and then Krishna goes and embraces all the boys. And that's God. Along with the smiles. It's just, there's affection like anything. And they're enjoying, and he's enjoying. And they know he's enjoying. They don't, they have their yardsticks out and measuring his is he God or not? What's the limits of his power? That's what Brahma did, but the cowherd boys don't do that. They know that he has whatever it is in him. Let's go. Let's go in the tall forest. It's a very joy-filled life with Krishna. Someone else? Yes?
In the same lines, I was thinking, please kindly correct me if at all I'm going wrong, how kind Krishna is that the cowherd boys were desiring for these fruits, even though they are in some dangerous place.
Even though they're what?
In a dangerous place.
Dangerous place.
Yeah, but how kind Krishna's kindness is that he kills the demon and gives that fruits to the cowherd boys. So it's just appreciating that though I might be desiring so many unwanted things, but how wonderfully he takes off all those things and gives me the real thing in the life.
Well, this Dhenuka has eaten Brijbasis. He's going to get it. And the Brijbasis, not just the cowherd boys, want them for themselves, or they want for Krishna. The Brijbasis want also. And the Dhenuka is preventing them. So that's not right. So he has to be removed. Okay, anything else back there? Over here? Yes?
The definition of Leela that you gave was Krishna's internal potency, trying to give pleasure to him and simultaneously give pleasure to his devotees.
Yes, that's his potencies at work doing that.
So in the pastime of the killing of Dhenukasura, was the request by...
You got to speak a little louder because the child's louder than you.
In the pastime of the killing of Dhenukasura, was the request from the cowherd boys for the tall fruits, like the internal...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he inspired them.
Mm-hmm.
You can say Super Soul inspired them, but you can also say Leela Shakti inspired them. So Krishna acts through his potencies. Yeah. Anything online? Do you have online questions? Yes?
This question is from Sri Dadas. Guru Maharaj, this question came up in our Harikatha discussion group. We were discussing about Lord Chaitanya Advent.
Lord Chaitanya?
Lord Chaitanya Advent.
Advent. Okay.
Who came to give Vraja Prema along with the chanting of holy name in this age, which no other incarnation gave in any other ages. But when Krishna came in Dwapara, why is it that he did not himself give the Vraja Prema along with chanting? Why did he had to come as Lord Chaitanya? Can I kindly request to clarify this for
Well,
us?
it's not that he didn't have to. He's, his form of Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. And there was one function in this appearance and another function in another appearance. We once asked, the morning walk in Mayapur is really nice. Prabhupada, for that one particular morning, was in a mood of glorifying Bhaktivinoda. And it was, he was really enthused, and his voice was rising, and he was really happy speaking about how merciful and how powerful and how glorious, etc., how visionary, how everything, Bhaktivinoda. And then there was some silence, and someone said, Prabhupada, why didn't he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world? Prabhupada very quickly said, he left something for us to do. So, that Lord Chaitanya comes, and the very same cycle of the four yugas after Krishna appears says there's something that Krishna did that made Lord Chaitanya, paved the way for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. So, you have to ask Krishna why he didn't. He left something for Lord Chaitanya to do. As the Yuga Dharma. And he did in his own way, by his pastimes. Okay?
There is one more clarification Prabhu is seeking.
Yeah.
Guru Maharaj, it appears that majority of Mahajans and great personalities from cantos 1 to 9 are in the mood of Aishwarya but did not achieve Vraja Prema. Please correct my understanding.
Yeah. Shukadeva Goswami as perhaps the exception. Yeah. Next. Okay. We're done. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.